So grade 6. So grade 6 today we will read the same chapter that we were reading last time, Life on the Prairie. Our chapter, the chapter name was Water, and the piece of text we were reading was Fresh Water to Drink. Today we will read page number 24 to 26, line number 20. So we will start reading from page number 26 to 24 to 26. Okay, so for you, let me open page number. Okay, so I will start reading. Okay, so Charles, if I can't pull you up, okay. Last in the previous text, what we read that last time is Mr. Scott was stuck down in the well, and Charles was trying to take Mr. Scott out of the well. So his wife was saying that don't go down. It could be very risky. So you shouldn't go down. We should call some help. But Miss the father was saying that I cannot wait until the help come. Mr. Scott would be fainted, or Mr. Scott can be dead also. So I should go down and I should find out what's happening and why Mr. Scott is stuck downstairs. I mean down in the well. So
Book? Which page?
Ma'am, which book?
English book. English book, everyone open. Page number 24.
Ma'am, but I have opened. But it is
Hmm?
not. Yeah, I got it. I got.
Okay, everyone open page number 24. Last time we were reading the story. Last time we were
Yeah.
reading the story, Fresh Water to Drink, Life on the Prairie. But we read incomplete, means we just read 3 pages. Today we will
Yeah.
continue from 24 to page number 26. We will read 3 pages and we will complete our story. Now we will today get to know what would have happened next. So last
Okay.
time we read that there was a family who used to live on the prairie, and it's a place. So they used to live there, and they wanted to dig up a well. So they were trying to dig up a well, and there was a man, Mr. Scott, who came to help them for digging up the well. So what happened one day? They every day they used to send a candle to check out if everything is fine down in the well. One day, Mr. Scott was thinking that it's a stupid activity that we are sending the candle down in the well, and we are checking out. So one day he didn't send the candle to check out was everything okay or not. So he jumped into the well, and he just abruptly went down and he never came up. So when the father, the pa, got to know that Mr. Scott didn't come up, so he was also very tense that what had happened down, that he is unable to respond and he is not coming up. So he tried to look down. It was so dark that he couldn't look down. So he decided to uh, pull Mr. Scott up. But his wife, the mother, was telling him not to go down. It must be very risky. Okay, so this happened last time, and she was saying that we should not go down, and it must be very risky. But the pa said that I have to go, otherwise Mr. Scott must be in danger, and we have to save him, and we have no time to ask for any help. So in this conversation we left last time, so we are going to continue from there. So Charles,
Yeah.
if I can't, so I'm reading out from page number 24, line number 80. So everyone open line number 80.
Ma'am, may I start?
Oh, okay, you start.
Charlie, if I cannot pull you up, If you keel over down there and I cannot pull you up.
Okay. So basically,
Pharaoh
Keen. Okay, wait. Basically, he is saying that the mother is saying to Charles that if you will go down, I won't be able to to take you up. She is saying that if you will if you will turn over and fall into the well, then it would be very difficult for me to take you out. So she is basically warning the father, the pa, that don't go down.
far online, I have got to pass it. I swing into the well, his head slide out of sight down the rope. Ma croaked and shut her eyes and staring down into the well.
Okay. So the father was saying, the pa was saying that Caroline means to his wife that I have to go down. And he went down and he swung down in the well, and his head disappeared in the well, and he went down the rope. And the mother was trying to kneel down. I mean, she sat on her heels and he tried to see in the well, but it was so dark in the well. She couldn't able to see what's happening down in the well.
All over the fire, what is it written?
It's Prairie or Prairie.
Prairie and Prairie Meadow where rain things flying straight up into the sky. The white was blowing warmer, but Luria was cold.
Okay. All over the prairie, meadow larks. Okay, larks are basically meadow larks are birds who sing very well. So they are the birds that found in the prairie, and they were saying that all over the prairie, the birds, kind of sparrow or birds who sings well, were singing, flying, and going here and there in the sky, and the wind was blowing warm, and they were saying that the wind was really warm, but Laura was cold. While Laura was cold, the little girl was cold because of the tension and the stressful environment that her father and Mr. Scott was down and they weren't coming up. So she was little tense. That's why she was cold. Otherwise, the weather was very warm.
Suddenly, Ma jumped up the seized the handle of the windlass. She turned she tugged at it with all her might. The rope starting at the windlass cracked. Now what's this reading cracked?
Yes.
Cracked. Luria thought that Pa had killed over down in the dark bottom of the well, and Ma could not pull him up. But the windlass turned a little and then a little more.
Okay. So what happened next? Ma jumped up and seized the handle of the windlass. So what happened when she saw that Pa has gone down the well? So she tried to hold the windlass or control the windlass. Windlass is a device that pull out the weight or load. Okay, so she tugged at it with all her might. So she tried to pull hard, with all her efforts that she could put in to pull out the rope. The rope strained and the windlass creaked. So the word creak means that to break up. I mean to some sound comes in a high pitch. Okay, so it's a breaking sound. When something break up, so the creak sounds come. The rope strained and the windlass creaked. It just creaked means it just broke. Laura thought that Pa had keeled over. Laura was thinking that father has fallen down in the well. Keel means to fall over, down in the dark bottom of the well, and Ma couldn't pull him up. And mother was trying to pull the rope up, pull him up, but this rope was creaked. But the windlass turned a little and then a little more, and she was trying to turn the windlass to get the paw out of the well, and it turned.
Pa's hand come up holding to the rope. His and other hand reached above it and took hold of the rope. Then Pa's hand come up. His arm held to the windlass. Then somehow he got to the ground and sat there.
Okay, so now what happened? The mother, means the ma, was trying to pull out the with the help of the windlass. So the windlass was turning a little and then a little. After a while, the pa came up, holding to the rope. Means the pa was holding the rope of windlass, and the mother was turning the windlass rope, and the pa hands came up, and he came up fully with the help of the rope, and then somehow he just tried to fix his breath and sat beside out of the well. Okay, next.
The windlass whirled around. There was a thump deep down in the well. Pa surgically to get up, and Ma said, "Sit still, Charlie. Ludia, get some water quick."
Okay, so the windlass whirled. Whirl means it's basically a confused or a quick movement when you don't know. So the windlass whirled around means it's a very sudden movement, and there was a thud deep down the well. Thud means a very dull sound. So they heard a dull sound down the well. Pa struggled to get up, and Ma said, "Sit still, Charles. Laura, get some water quick." So mother was trying to pamper the Pa, and she was saying that sit still, don't need to move, or no need to go down or check out what's happening down. First, fix yourself up, and then you can go. Okay, next. Laura ran. She came hurrying back. What's Okay. Laura ran. She came hurrying back, lugging the pail of water. So, pail is a bucket, or we call bucket a pail also. So, lugging, she was loading, or she was carrying a bucket of water. Where was I? Okay. Okay, now we are
The
here.
windlass, the
Hmm.
windlass, the windlass whirled around. There was a thumb deep down in the well. Pa suggested to get up, and Ma said, "Sit still, Charlie. Ludia, get some water quick." Ludia run, Ludia run. She came hurrying back, loose, loosening the pail of water. Pa and Ma were both turning the windlass. The rope slowly wound itself up, and the bucket come up it out of the well and tied to the bucket, and the rope was Mr. School. His arms and his head hugged and wobbled. His mouth was puckering up, and his eyes half shut.
Okay, so what happened that Laura ran, she came hurrying back, lugging the pail of water. So she came back with carrying the bucket of water or pail of water. Ma or both were turning the windlass. Okay, so father and mother both were turning the windlass because they were trying to get Mr. Scott out of the well. The rope slowly wound itself up, and the bucket came up out of the well, and tied to the bucket and the rope was Mr. Scott. So what happened when Pa came down? Pa just tugged Mr. Scott with the bucket, and so that when they pull up the rope, Mr. Scott would also come with the rope. His arms and legs and his head hung and wobbled. His mouth was partly open and his eyes half shut. So wobble means move unsteadily. Mr. Scott was basically shaking. So his eyes and everything was shaking, wobbled. Wobbled means shaking. His mouth was partly open and his eyes half shut. So he was very dizzy. So he's not in his senses. So with the help of rope, Mr. Scott, they pulled Mr. Scott also. So now Mr. Scott is out of the well.
Pa put him on the glass. Pa rolled him over and the flopped where he was rolled. Pa felt his wrist and listened at his chest, and
Okay.
then Pa lay down beside him.
So Pa tugged him on to the grass. Tug means to pull hardly. Yeah. So tug means to pull hard, means to pull something very hard with all your efforts. So Pa tugged him on to the grass means he pulled Mr. Scott out and put him on the grass. Pa rolled him over and flopped where he was rolled. Okay, so flop means when you suddenly fall on something. So they were fall on the ground where they were rolling. Pa felt his wrist and listened at his chest. So the father was trying to check out whether he is alive or not. He checked his pulse, and that is in the wrist, and listened at his chest and checked out his heartbeat. And then Pa lay down beside him, and then Pa took his breath. He is breathing. Pa said that he's alive, he's breathing, he'll be all right. वो ठीक हो जाएगा. In the air, I am all right, Caroline. I am plumb tuckered out, that's all. Plumb tuckered out means when you are really exhausted or when you are very irritating, you're feeling irritated and or annoyed. Then you says that I'm very exhausted means I'm very tired or plumb tuckered out. This it's a phrase for being very exhausted. So he's saying that maybe Thiko, I'm all right. Just I'm feeling little exhausted because I went down the well and I took out Mr. Scott also. So it was really very tricky. So now
Well,
next pitch. Hmm.
Well, Ma scolded, I should think you would be. Of all these success performance by my goodness, couriers and scares a body to death, all for want of a little responsible care. My goodness, I, uh, she covered her face with a apron and burst out crying.
Okay. So she's saying, well, I should think you would be. She's saying that I should think that you would be exhausted of all the senseless performances. She was saying that you should be exhausted because you have done a lot of senseless performances that could be very dangerous. My goodness gracious, carrying a body to death, all for want of a little reasonable care. She was saying that you could be dead if you could have done, you could have been more careful, but you weren't, and you just wanted to go down the well, and you weren't paying any attention, or you weren't just taking care of the situation. So she was crying also. She just covered her face with the apron she was wearing and she burst out crying. She broke down. Okay, next. So she now started crying because she was really afraid that what would happen because Mr. Scott could have also died in the well, and and
What do you
her
mean of
pa could
apron?
have also died.
What's the meaning of apron?
Apron?
Yeah,
Apron is a piece of cloth that you wear while you cook something. On your vest, you wear it.
okay.
Okay, next.
Next is, that was a thumble day. I do not want a well. Mascot, it isn't worth it. I would not have you running such risks.
Okay, so she's saying that was a terrible day, means it was so bad day. I don't want a well. Mother was saying that I don't need any well. I don't want to put your lives on risk. It isn't worth it. She's saying that on your behalf of your, in the place of your lives, the well is not worth it. We want you to live with us. I won't have you running such risk. She's saying that I cannot allow you to have such risk that you have taken. Okay.
Next, Mr. Scott had breathed a kind of gas that still deep in the ground. It stays at the bottom of wells because it is heavier than the air. It could not be seen or smelled, but no one can breathe it. Very long and life. I had gone down into that gas to tie Mr. Scott to the rope so that he could be pulled up out of the gas. When
Okay.
Mr. Scott was able, he went home. Before he went inside to park, you were right about that candle business. In course, I thought it was all false fishes, and I would not bother with it. But I have found out my mistake.
Okay. So Mr. Scott has had breathed a kind of gas that stays deep in the ground. So he was saying that there is a kind of gas that is inside the well, down the well, and so that Mr. Scott was fainted in the well, and Mr. Scott couldn't bear that smell of the gas. It was kind of breath, taking out the breath of a person. So Mr. Scott told that there was a kind of gas that is down the well, stays at the bottom of the wells because it is heavier than the air. So Mr. Scott was saying that the gas only stays down the well in the bottom side, because the gas is really heavy than the air is. Air is very light and air is everywhere, but that gas was heavier, and that only stayed down the well. It cannot be seen or smelled. So Mr. Score was saying that the gas was not couldn't be seen or smelled, but no one can breathe it very long and live. So Mr. Scott told that the gas was so dangerous that it was breathless, or it couldn't be seen, or it was not smelled enough, but the we could not breathe very long. I mean that the when the gas went down your lungs, it was so dangerous that you wouldn't resist it for longer. So Pa had gone down to that gas to tie Mr. Scott to the rope. So why Pa went down to tie Mr. Scott to the rope so that they can pull Mr. Scott up out of the gas. So that's why Mr. Scott was very numb and shaky. When Mr. Scott was able, he went home. When he came to his senses, he went home. Before he went, he said to Pa that you were right about the candle business, that you were saying right that we should send the candle first to check out everything is fine or not. In Gales, I thought it was all foolishness, and he said that I was thinking it's all ridiculous kind of act, and I would not bother with it. But I found out my mistake. Now he's saying that I've realized my mistake. Now it is safer to send the candle down first and then to check out or go down. Okay, read next.
Okay, ma'am. Well said, Pa. Where a light cannot live, I know I cannot, and I like to be safe when I can be. But all well that ends well. Pa wished a while he had breathed a little of the gas and the field, like resting, but that afternoon he unraveled a dirt from a to a toe stack and he took a little powder from his powder horn. He tried to powder in a piece of cloth with a end of the toe threading in the powder. Come
Okay.
along, Lulia, he said, and I will show you something.
Okay. Well, said Pa, the father was saying, where a light can't live, I know it, I can't. So, why they sent the candle down the well? They were checking out if the light would go off, then that means we would also go off down, means there the environment, the gas or the air is not safer down, so that the candle is blinked off. So that's if the light is, if the candle is lightning still downstairs, then that means everything is fine. So I like to be safe and when I can be, but all's well that ends well. So he said that at the end everything is well. Next, Pa rested a while. He had breathed a little of the gas and he felt like resting. So Pa also had smelled that gas, so he had to take rest now. But that afternoon, he unraveled a thread from a tow sack. So he unravel means when you untie something, untangle something. So like we untie the rope. So he untied a thread from a raw sack, a tow sack, and he took a little powder from his powder horn. He tied the powder in a piece of cloth with one end of the toe string in the powder. So he what he did now, he has now used a new trick to check out whether everything is fine down. So he has tied a powder horn with the string, and he would send it down also. Come along, Laura, and I'll show you something. Now he said that come along with me, I will show you something. So now let's see what he is up to, what he wants to show, what he wants to prove with the help of that powder.
They went to the well. Pa lighted the end of the stirring and waited until the spark was crawling quickly along it. Then he dropped the little bundle into the well. In a
Okay.
minute they heard a muffled bang, and a puff of smoke came out of the well. That will bringing the gas, Pa said.
Okay, they went to the well. Pa lightened the end of the string and waited until the spark was crawling quickly uh, along along it. Then he dropped a little bundle into the well. So now what he did that he threw that bundle that full of powder down the well. In a minute they heard a muffled bang. Now in a minute they heard a sound. Muffled bang means a very audible sound, loud sound, and a puff of smoke came out of the well. That will bring the gas. So now why he sent the powder? Because he wanted when uh, the bundle would burst out, then the all the gas that is downstairs will come out with the powder, with the smoke. So all the gas came out, a puff of smoke came out, and the gas was along with the smoke. When the smoke was all gone, he let Laura light the candle and stand beside him while he let it down. All the way down in the dark hole, the little candle kept on burning like a star. So now everything was clear down the well, and the candle kept on burning. So everything was safe now down the well. Okay, next.
So next day, Pa and Mr. Scott went on digging the well, but they always sent the candle down every morning. Their
So this
digging
kept on.
to be,
Hmm.
ma'am, please.
Okay. So what happens? What is going to happen now? Now they will be checking the well by sending the candle. If the candle is burning, then that means everything is fine. And now they have to go down and dig up the well also. So it was very important for them to send out the candle and to check out everything is fine or not.
There began to be a little water in the well, but it was not enough. The buckets come up full of mud, and Pa and Mr. Scott worked every day in deeper mud. In the mornings, when the candle went down, it lighted, observing wet walls and candlelight speaklet in rings over the water when the buckets struck bottom.
Okay, there began to be a little water in the well. So there, the little water came into the side, but it was too little that it wasn't enough. The bucket came up full of mud, and Pa and Mr. Scott worked every day. So they worked every day to make the well more deeper. In the morning, when the candle went down, it lighted oozing wet walls. After a while, after some time, the candles showed that the walls were very wet. Oozing means something that, like, wet means the water is coming out or the sucking out. So, oozing wet walls and candlelight sparkle in the ring over the water when the bucket struck bottom. So, now the water has begun to show up. So, now they could see little water, and the starting of discovering the water is getting on its ways.
Buzz got knee deep in the water and blended out the bucketful before he could begin digging in the mud. One day, when he was digging, a large shot came enough of Ma ran out of the house and Ludia ran to the well. Pull, pull, Scott, pull, Pa yelled. A swimming, grushing and sound enough down there. Mr. Scott turned the windlass as fast as he could, and Pa come up, climbing hand over hand up the rope.
Okay. Pa stood knee deep in water and bailed out bucketfuls before he could begin digging in the well. So now they could see water in the deepness of the well. One day when he was digging, a loud shout came echoing up, so they heard a shout. Ma ran out of the house and Laura ran to the well. Pull, Scott, pull. Pa was yelling that pull me out, a swishing, gurgling sound. Swishing and gurgling means a very loud kind of sound, a different kind of sounds. Echoed down there. Mr. Scott turned the windlass as fast as he could, and Pa came up climbing hand over hand up the rope. So, what kind of sound that was, we still don't know, because everything was fine, but suddenly Pa heard a sound down in the well, and he was asking Mr. Scott and Ma to pull him up. So they succeeded to pull him up, but what was down in the well is still not mentioned in this chapter. But at the end, what happened, that everything is fine, the water is coming out from the well, and they were working, and also, but there were something unsafe in the well down, so they still have to be very careful about that. Okay, everyone, so tomorrow, that was all the story, how they digged up the well and how everything was managed to keep everything safe down the well. So tomorrow we will do its comprehension. Okay, everyone, and next pages we will also read according to the diary. Okay,
Okay.
so
Now
that
what is
was
our
all for
homework?
today. Homework
Now
is
what is
nothing. You can just go through the story once more. You can read
okay.
out once more, and tomorrow we will discuss and we will do the comprehension.
Okay. Okay.
So I am going to stop recording.